we confront with the war on drugs. And fundamentally, I think there's an issue of human rights which has just been completely neglected by the war on drugs. That we, the government, can tell you what to experience in the inner sanctum of your personality. And we will allow certain drugs which happen to make huge amounts of money for our friends in the pharmaceutical industry, and we'll not only allow them, we'll celebrate them and we'll advertise them in every possible way. But other drugs we will not allow. That's very un-American. America is a country that celebrates and that enshrines individual freedom. And I love that about America. And one of the good things about the legalization of cannabis in whatever many states it is, 20 plus, is that all those prognostications, all those warnings that legalization would lead to catastrophe turn out not to be true.
Not at all.
State by state, America is proving that the war on drugs is full of shit. It's just time for the federal authorities to catch up.
Yeah, and it's time for the federal authorities to realize that this prohibition is bad for them as well.
Yeah.
It's bad for the human species. It's bad for you as an individual. And that there are experiences that are available and that have been known about for thousands of years all over the world that can help you grow as a human being.
Absolutely.
Not everybody.
No.
Some people shouldn't take it. Some people have all sorts of medical conditions and psychological conditions that don't make it safe for them.
Definitely.
But the way we find this out is by letting them be legal and letting people who understand them explain to people what the dangers are, develop protocols based on effective dosages, and also explain what people can't do, why they shouldn't do it, what medications that you're on that you shouldn't take these days.
Absolutely. There needs to be much broader
Education.
information, not this kind of closed-minded, shut-mouth society that we live in at the moment. It needs to change very, very radically. A friend of ours in the UK, Amanda Fielding, runs. You've had her on your show.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Wonderful lady. She runs the Beckley Foundation, and they are. Amanda has been very effective over the years in getting legislation changed and in funding research into psychedelics. And one of the things I know that Amanda is looking at is hospices that offer psychedelic therapy, and I think that would be very useful. You're not obliged to take the psychedelics; it's a free choice, but they would be available in a setting with experienced practitioners who know what they're doing, who know how best to offer these medicines to help people transition through the death process.
And it's been shown that, particularly psilocybin, through these end-of-life fears, that it has an amazing effect on people.
An amazing effect. People in a terminal condition with cancer who've been terrified of death stop being afraid of death anymore. It's not consuming them anymore. They feel that they're part of something wider and larger and bigger. That this body, this life, this time and place is only an incident in a much longer story.
Which is, to me, one of the weird things about rigid atheism. This concept that when your brain shuts off, when your body dies, consciousness ends and it's just blank. And it's just our ego that wants us to believe that there's something more and greater afterwards.
So annoying, that.
Well, it's just
Richard
weird.
Dawkins, the selfish gene. He's responsible for a lot of that thinking.
Well, it's they don't want to buy into foolishness, and a lot of them believe that at least some of the beliefs of organized religion are just mythical, foolish notions that people attach themselves to in order to comfort themselves, but that they, of the superior intellect, don't need those comforts.
That's right.
And they can embrace the darkness.
And their intellects are so superior that they don't realize that they themselves are practicing a religion.
Yeah.
That is a religious belief. If a scientist says there is no life after death, we are just accidents of chemistry and biology, that is not a statement of scientific fact.
Well, it's also the most arrogant
That's an opinion.
ones. The most arrogant ones are the ones that don't have the psychedelic experiences.
That's true.
Notice the people that have had psychedelic experiences, they waffle on those ideas a little bit. They go, well, I don't know what that was.
There's no doubt that psychedelic experiences change people, and by and large, they change people in a positive way. I'm not saying that drugs can't be harmful. They can be. I'm going to use that general word because it's just the word in our language. But by and large, the psychedelics are very positive in their effects and in their consequences, which kind of brings me to the issue of DMT. DMT, of course, is the... Could we plug in the HDMI cable, Jamie? DMT is the active ingredient of ayahuasca. Dimethyltryptamine, arguably the most powerful visionary substance known to science. I first encountered DMT in ayahuasca in 2003. Just let me type something in here.
Okay.
Oh, my page has gone away. Perhaps it'll come back.
So this is interesting. You take your glasses off to see your computer better?
Yeah, because I've got another pair which are for close-up, but I can't bother to put them on. These are distance glasses. I can see you clearly, but everything here is a blur.
When are we going to fix that?
I don't know. No backups. There we go.
My friend Ari got his eyes fixed. He got LASIK, and then his eyes got worse.
Yeah, I do not wish...
They were fixed for a while, and then as they, macular degeneration continued to set in, they got bad again. He's like, what? I got an operation. It went bad again.
This has happened to my wife, Santha. She's had artificial retinas or whatever they are put in, and it helped for a while, but now she's needing more glasses to wear on them. See, these are my short distance glasses.
Got it.
I have another pair in the middle. So I've got 3 pairs. It's a bit cumbersome, but I will not have surgery for it.
Have you ever taken supplements that help your macular degeneration stop?
No, I haven't. Should I?
Yeah, there's Pure Encapsulations has something that I take called macular support.
Huh.
And it has a bunch of nutrients that are crucial to preserving eyesight.
Would you text me a little bit of information on that?
Yeah, I have no affiliation with this company, by the way.
No.
Just something that I buy.
But they work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stopped my vision still sucks, but it sucked up until a level and it didn't get worse.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and it didn't get worse, and it coincided with me taking supplements.
Yeah.
Just being really religious about it.
Yeah. Can I show you a couple more pictures?
Sure. What do you got here?
So that's my first experience with ayahuasca. I'm with Don Francisco Montes Shuna, who's an Amazonian shaman in Iquitos, and this is 2003. And we are picking leaves from the chacruna bush. It's called Psychotria viridis, and those leaves contain DMT. And then 20 years later, here I am with Francisco again. I've got less hair, and Francisco has definitely aged as well. And this was about 3 weeks ago. I had an ayahuasca session then. One of the most, in some ways, one of the most helpful sessions that I've ever had. I suffer from migraines, very bad migraine headaches. They're a curse of my life. I'm taking a pharmaceutical medication. I carry it still everywhere with me, which is a triptan, belongs to the class of medicines called triptans. I take it as a nasal spray, and it will pretty much guaranteed stop a migraine within two hours. So if I have to do public speaking or come on your show, and if I were to get a migraine, I could know within 2 hours I would be functional again.
What is a migraine like? What does it feel like?
Hell on earth. The worst conceivable pain. It starts often on one side of the head, and it just grows and grows and grows, and it completely dominates you, and there's a full body malaise, and you feel sick, and your stomach gets all knotted up. And if I don't treat it, I am looking at 3 to 4 days in a darkened room wearing an eye mask. I'm so sensitive to light. The pain is agonizing, and I get this sense of those are in the midst of a bad migraine are one of the few times I just feel life is not worth living. Get me out of here. I just don't want any more of this. So I rely on these triptans, but triptans turn out to be quite closely related to dimethyltryptamine. And on this, let's put that shot up again. On this session that I had with Francisco, I focused the whole session on please help me with my migraines. That was the whole thing it was about. And I didn't have the entity encounters, and I didn't have many of the things that happen with ayahuasca, but I had, this is going to sound nuts to people who think I'm nuts, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had a circle of serpents that appeared in front of me, and they were all intertwined around each other, and they came closer and closer to my forehead, and in the middle of them was a bright light, and it came right down onto my forehead, and I started to feel afraid. as one does in a deeply altered state of consciousness sometime. And I was kind of backing off, and I said, I want this to stop. And a voice said to me, just shut up and get out of our way. We're trying to help you. And I said, okay. Wow. And I surrendered. And I let it go the full course. The net result is that in the 3 weeks since then, when I might have taken 15 or 20 of those pharmaceutical medicines, I've taken one. Just one. And I can't help associating it directly with that ayahuasca experience and focusing my intention on that happening, and Francisco helping me with that as well.
So normally this migraine thing is a regular occurrence?
Regular, and it's got worse. It started when I was about 19, and as I've got older, many people it doesn't happen. In my case, it's just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it was accompanied, it's related to epilepsy. I had a massive epileptic seizures back in 2017. I think I told you about it. Put me in an induced coma for 48 hours. I'm a neurological mess, but I'm grateful to the fact that I've had 3 weeks now of relief from these horrific migraine symptoms, and I can't help feeling that this ayahuasca session had a lot to do with it. And it's the DMT in ayahuasca, which is undoubtedly the active ingredient. The mystery and why it's science is that the other ingredient of the brew is the ayahuasca vine. Now, taken orally, neither the leaves that contain DMT nor the vine are psychoactive. You have to cook them together to get the psychoactive brew called ayahuasca. And that's quite a miracle out of the tens of thousands of different species of plants and trees in the Amazon. But these guys the Amazon is their pharmacy. They know every plant, every tree. They understand all their properties. They're real experts in working with it, and the best people to work with. I'm bringing this up because I would like to share some information, if I may, about new DMT projects that are going on.
Sure.
As you're aware, the mainstream is gradually beginning to embrace psychedelics. We're finding, far from being the demonized substances that Richard Nixon and co. wanted us to believe they were, that they're incredibly helpful to people, whether it's with depression, whether it's with migraines, whether it's with end-of-life fears. Psychedelics are being tested and tried out in universities all around the world and producing very, very interesting results. Now, I know Brian mentioned this on your show, but there is this new technology which is extended DMT. When you or I smoke DMT or vape it, we're looking at a 10-minute trip. It might linger a little bit longer than that, but it comes on really fast. It's ferociously powerful. The sense of entering a seamlessly convincing parallel realm is ferociously powerful. It can be scary, but it's so overwhelming and so sudden and so enormous that by the end of it, you kind of wonder what happened there. It's hard to process the experience. With extended release DMT, which has been given either as an injection or as an intravenous drip, you can keep volunteers in the peak DMT state for an hour or more than an hour. The peak state that you would get when you've just taken those 4 hits on the pipe. That state can be extended for an hour or more if the volunteer wishes it. Many of the studies that are doing this now give the volunteers the option to opt out and say, I've had enough, I don't want more of this. But by and large, most people go through it. So there's 2 projects which are now underway. And one of them is at the University of California, San Diego. It was launched with a $1.5 million donation from philanthropist Eugene Jong. I've put a link to a story there from USCD about this research. But what he's doing is he's infusing psychedelic doses of intravenous DMT for 60 minutes. It's Dr. John Dean who's leading it. He's using fMRI to study the extended state DMT. He's looking at the entity phenomenon particularly. Vast number of people who've worked with DMT experience encounters with entities, and those entities communicate telepathically. Of course, The mainstream would say that's rubbish, it's just your brain on drugs, but it's a mystery. And they're going to decode these visual activities, the creation of new extensive altered states research into human potential. What this boils down to, it's focused on measuring whether a person's consciousness can extend past the physical body during trance or hypnotic states. And of course, if that were to check out, in these investigations. We're now looking at opportunities for people to volunteer for these projects and to report their experiences in detail. They're going to be having people on DMT in one country and at the same time simultaneously people on DMT in another country. This work is happening in Switzerland as well. And seeing if there's some kind of out-of-body element. This is stuff that mainstream science wouldn't have touched a decade ago, but now is interested in it. And that's a very positive thing.
Well, if we can get proof of a mappable realm.
Yes. That's the exciting potential of this research, is that we are so focused on the physical world that we think all exploration is to be technological, that we're going to explore other planets, we're going to explore the solar system, we're going to explore the universe. Great. But what about exploring inner space? What about finding out who and what we are?
And what about the possibility of a chemical gateway that leads you to a realm that you're just not capable of accessing without it?
That's what I think DMT is.
And the fact that it's actually endogenously produced.
Yes. Why is the human body producing DMT
right.
as a natural endogenous brain hormone if it doesn't have some very important function? And maybe that function is to shake us out of this locked-in state where we're locked into the physical realm, and our needs to survive in that physical realm gives us a brief holiday from that and allows us to encounter a wider reality that we've otherwise shut out from our consciousness. This is a hypothesis to explore, and I'm really, really happy that it is happening at the University of San Diego. Anybody who wants to find out more about it, it's down there at the bottom. You can go to the Center for Psychedelic Research at UCSD. There's a URL there. And the point of contact is the lead scientist, which is j1dean@health.ucsd.edu. Anybody wants to find out more about this research, which is starting, I believe, in the spring of 2024, they can get in contact with John Dean and see if they're interested in enrolling in the investigation.
You have a hint to Elon Musk in this?
This is not my words.
Whose words are these?
These are words that have been sent to me by the team at UCSD.
The team says we're looking to raise about $20 million to make all this happen within 3 to 5 years. Hint, maybe Elon Musk would be interested in supporting, as he has mentioned DMT multiple times on Twitter and other public spheres. He's the guy you go to.
Well, exactly. They've raised $1.5 million, and that gets the project started, thanks to Eugene Jong. But to take this project to the next level, they need more money.
Yeah.
And this is a highly creditable institution offering something very interesting.
Well, he might be willing to do it because he's willing to offer Wikipedia $1 billion to change their name to Dickopedia.